All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. It is a few minutes after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. In an overcast but otherwise beautiful Boerne, Texas, I'm Christopher Inks with Texas West Capital, and we're going to take a look at the markets today as we do twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. But today we will also finally have the first of our many drawings we're going to have over the next few months. To give away a whole bunch of stuff, guys. And here's how it's going to work. So today, because I wasn't able to do it Friday because of the voice and everything, we're going to do 3 drawings today. And what's going to happen is the first drawing is going to be for a PS5. The second drawing is going to be for a, excuse me, for a year membership, Tier 3 membership with TWC. And then the third drawing is going to be for a 6-month Tier 3 membership with TWC. But here's the thing, because the PS5 and the Xbox or whatever that I have are US based, obviously they're not going to work, over there in England or something. So what I'm going to do, after talking with y'all and doing all this, what we're going to do is, if you win the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, sometime over the next few months here, no matter where you are, I'm going to give you the choice. Well, okay, if you're outside the US, I'm going to go ahead and give you a 6-month, instead of the PS5 or the Xbox, where I'm going to give you a 6-month Tier 3 membership, okay? If you're in the U.S., I'm going to give you the choice, because I'm getting a lot of people, surprisingly, I don't know, I should say surprisingly, but I found a lot of people are really much more interested in the membership. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a choice if you want to keep the PS5 or Xbox that you win, or if you would rather have the 6-month membership. And then what I'll do is any of the PS5s or Xbox that I have left over at the end of all this, I'll just give away over here locally in San Antonio. And then that way, some kids locally here can have a pretty great Christmas. Obviously they're pretty difficult to get a hold of. And apparently it's going to get even worse with everything, not just with them, but with everything, with this whole, these bottlenecks that we have right now with transportation and everything. So anyway, hopefully that gets everybody excited about that. By the way, I will tag you, I guess mention you on Twitter, and you'll have 48 hours to get back with me, okay? You've got that gives you 2 whole days to get back with me, and then we can go from there and get it all done. I think that about does it. I'm not going to do it right now at the beginning. I'll do it a little bit later into the show, so we'll do that. So good to see y'all here. Who's here already? I've got Oscar here. Crypto Mowgli is checking in. Jay Quinn is here. Bill Esteban, good to see you guys. Jared the Great. I still love that name. Michael Williams is here. Nevlusian. Mahdi is here. Claudio. White R21. Sver, what's going on? He says, so how is it on this day when there is a new path on the finance Euro chart for BTC? Oh, man, this is all good stuff, right? What's going on? I mean, we are within a stone's throw of that all-time high. So it's kind of, we haven't seen that individual come back who was giving me such a hard time a few weeks back. Your count's incorrect. It can't possibly be. It's a way B and it's going down. And I don't know, yeah. I just, again, guys, I don't have a problem with people having a different viewpoint than I do. That's perfectly fine. And it's great when you do, because we can discuss it on here, and maybe you'll show me something I wasn't thinking about. That's all right. But, when people come on and they're just total, trying to think of a nice word to say, jerks. I don't have time to waste with you. A lot of people, you know what, man, today is so crazy. Everybody's out there. Everybody thinks they deserve to be heard because they have a voice. They think it's important that they're heard and whatever. Guys, let me tell you what. If you're not saying anything worth listening to, nobody needs to listen to you, period. Okay? If you're going to come on and spout off like an idiot, and be a jerk and be rude and disrespectful, whatever, there's nobody in this world that has to sit there and deal with it. Y'all, not y'all. You guys are great, but, so many people out there, it's really prevalent with this whole online thing with social media, guys. And those of you who are wise like me, we've been around for many years, well before social media, you've undoubtedly seen this rise as well. And people just thinking that they can talk however they want, be however they want. And oh my gosh, it's the other person is terrible if they don't listen to you, or if they, if they block you or something because you're being a jerk, right? Oh man, it's ridiculous stuff. But Anyway, yeah. So, I'm always welcoming. I just want to make this clear, guys. I'm always welcoming other opinions. I mean, look, I let Hank in here all the time, right? Oh, but anyway, seriously though, guys, anybody who's been following me for years knows that I always welcome other opinions, and it gives us a chance to talk about it. It doesn't mean I'm going to agree with you, but again, it gives me a chance to at least discuss why I don't think your opinion works out well for me, or maybe, like I said, I get it and I go, oh wow, wait a minute, yeah, that's something else we can look at there. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm not here to tell you I know what's going to go on. I don't have a crystal ball. All I can do is what I've done for 25 years now. All right? And, at the end of the day, it's just about finding the truth. I'd rather be profitable than correct. You see what I'm saying? I'm not so hell-bent on being correct that I can't, leave it be, and go the other way. I'm much more interested in making money. As I keep telling you guys, I'm long money, right? I'm neither bearish nor bullish. I'm long money. And I think it's a much better way to look at it because, bearish and bullish give you kind of mental issues. And what I mean is they make it difficult. If you refer to yourself as a bear or a bull, it makes it difficult for you to really look more objectively at the market. And it's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially if you're much more inexperienced at the market and whatnot. It's, if you are, it's a lot easier to become very bullish or very bearish. But the longer you're in the market, longer you're doing it for a while, it does become easier. It doesn't necessarily become easy, but it does become easier. But getting rid of terms like bearish and bullish, I think, help you a bit. So, yeah. Let's see here. What's going on, Dana? Good to see you. Thomas Payne checking in. Says, been a hot minute. Good to see you, man. Wreckham, that's right. Texas Tech. Let's see. Ari, what's up, man? He says, draw me like one of your French girls. Oh, man. Let me see here. Sver was saying earlier what he meant to say was a new all-time high on Binance on the Euro chart. Autocorrect sucks. It does, doesn't it? It's the bane of my existence, I'll tell you what. Kryptonio, glad to see you tuned in. Asum Risk is here. Hank, what's up, man? Droid Doctor is here. Bill is checked in. Sean, ARM. 83 Madden, Duff. What's going on, guys? Let's see here. Hank wants a cup and a handle. Hank always wants a cup and a handle. Let me see here. Asum says, would love to see that pullback to 52, 53,000 followed by a breakout on Bitcoin rather than straight breakout. Yeah, you know what, though? I think we're going to talk about it here in a minute. I think if we get a pullback, it's probably going to be around that 57, 58, 57,000 maybe area. And I'll show you why here in a few minutes here. Let me see here. Myself and Hank are a bit of an old married couple. Hank's a mess. But he's been following me a very long time. So, yeah. Peter, what's going on, man? Have I registered that trademark long on money? Well, it's interesting the way you can do it. There's different ways of registering things as far as trademarks and whatnot go, copyrights, stuff like that. So let's just say things have been done. It belongs to me now. So don't anybody try and use it. I will sue the pants off you. No, not really, but, well, maybe. Depends on if you're worth suing. Severus is funny. Calling people or yourself a bear or a bull is a pet peeve of his. Yeah. Again, guys, a lot of what I try and do here, in case you haven't noticed, we look at the technicals and we talk about the macroeconomic stuff and whatever. But if you haven't noticed, a lot of what I do is I talk about that emotional, that psychological side of it. Everything from changing your candle colors to black and white, your volume bars to black, because of the color, the psychology of the color, using terms like bearish and bullish and how that impacts you psychologically, and emotionally and all these things. And so, pay attention to those things. That, if you ask me, that's where the real benefit of tuning in comes from, is this reinforcement and reminder of these things. Because if not, we can get carried away. Kind of like when we're looking at charts, we can get carried away on the 15-minute and forget to look out at the daily, right? And so we think something's going on the 15-minute, and the daily says, I don't think so. And then it takes us by surprise, right? So same idea, to be reminded there of that and to keep it, hopefully top of mind. Hey there, Brian. Good to see you. BTC Schiller. You like that phrase, long money? Yeah. I came up with that a few weeks ago here on what we're doing here. Anyway, hey guys, listen, we'd love to have you join us at howtotradetowin.com. I'm going to put out a discount today. a little bit later today. So be following me there, either be following our server, or be a part of the free side of the server or the paid side of the server, or follow me on Twitter at TX West Capital, or all our other social media there. I'm going to post it on everything, but I'm going to put out a discount today. So yeah, good times, man. Let's see if we can get some people to help them become self-sustainable traders. I can't even say it. Let's see here. Long on money means long on Bitcoin. A rapper called Gucci Mane has a song, Long Money. Yeah, interesting. I'll have to maybe try and check it out. I don't know. I'm not much of a rap person, but maybe I can check it out. Anyway, but you can do it here, howtotradetowin.com. I believe TexasWestCapital.com will go live sometime this weekend. That's it. And then within a week or so after that, I'm going to finally tell you guys what Alpha Trader is all about, and get you excited about that as well. So a lot of good stuff coming up here, guys. A lot of stuff happening. Fantastic stuff, right? All right, so, oh, yeah, real quick here, guys. Before we get into this, let me tell you something. So, those of you that follow me know that I'm always looking for just free sources of good information for you. And a lot of times that comes from EWI. And the great thing is, because I've got such a great relationship with them, many times I'll even get specials for you guys that they don't normally do for everybody. That isn't this time. This time right now, though, what they have right here, I'm going to go ahead and copy this link here and put it over here for you guys. If you have not done this, man, you are missing out. Do this. You don't have to put your credit card in. You just join their free Club EWI thing. But right now through November 3rd, they're doing this free pass thing of their flagship financial forecast service. Now, that's great in and of itself, but they just posted this rare video issue right now. And this is something that I've seen before and I've discussed before, but I couldn't share it with you because, again, I can't just share it with you, right? They have to do that. And so what it does is it talks about this chart, which is something else I've discussed with you guys before. But if you want to hear it from Prechter himself and discussing this right here, this is the big thing that I'm talking about. This is the big 233-year cycle that I'm talking about. Okay? And so he goes into this video and he explains, all the Fibonacci numbers along the way here and how it comes out. Again, this was 1932, so 1929 to 32, that's the Great Depression, the collapse of the market there during the Great Depression. And so, again, if you're coming through this, you kind of get this 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, what we're in right now. So anyway, this is, you don't have to believe it or not, guys, but as a trader, you should be open to understanding things in a different way, to looking at things in a different way. And so I think it's definitely something that you should take your advantage of and check out. It's not something that's usually available. This was recorded a while ago. But anyway, check it out, man. It's great stuff. You can do that at that link over there, and get on in there, man, because, if you're missing out on this free stuff, so many of y'all, you come in here and really all you want is free stuff. And then you skip out on things like that. And I don't know, man, I think if if you're looking for quality free information, take advantage of EWI every time they do one of those free pass things like that. And they do it multiple times throughout the years with different parts of their service. They're a lot bigger than TWC is as far as what they cover. So yeah, a lot of different possibilities in that. But anyway, check it out there. So, let's see here. Bitcoin, huh? Look at that. So, same chart I've been using for the newsletter. You'll remember, or maybe you won't remember, back here around one of the first or second issue of the newsletter. We were down here, and I mentioned how we had broken out above this swing high here, which, as it says here, locked in this three-wave decline here, corrective decline, and we should be looking for a go out. The initial target was this 55,430 area, which, as you can see, is where we had it. We hit it there, pulled back, then came back down on top of it. heading back up off there. We are within a stone's throw away from the all-time high, guys, in USD. In USD. Right now, it is, here on Coinbase, that's 64,899 is the all-time high. And so far, we're up there around 63,293. It's crazy, guys, isn't it? It's crazy. So we're, right now at 62,579. We're what? Just about $2,200 or so away from that, somewhere around that. So we're up there. That can pop in a second, with Bitcoin, the way it works. So anyway, so it still looks good up here. Minimum wave 3 up here around 79,440. But I think based on the way everything's happening right now, I think we'll probably get an overextension here of wave 3. And it might actually get well beyond even the secondary target up here at 88,525. We might see wave 3 hitting 100,000, 106,000 before it starts pulling back a bit. So we'll see how this goes. We'll just have to see how this continues to rally from here. Let me see here. We're about to hit all-time high again, but what was the USD actually worth last time? Remember, I do a lot with the newsletter. If you guys haven't signed up for that, man, make sure you do. Let me go and get that link out here again, because I go through a lot of effort out there to kind of explain the whole, there's a link right there, to explain the whole, what's going on, the whole macro view of what's going on there. And so, a lot of times that has to do with what's going on with the money printing and stuff like that, and treasuries, and why, this money printing that the Fed's been doing, money printing, I'm putting quotes there, doesn't actually directly affect you like many of y'all think it does. It's locked up in a certain area of the economy in which it doesn't come out over here. A lot of what we're seeing in terms of price rising right now has to do with production and supply bottlenecks, transportation bottlenecks. I mean, we've got months worth of backup at the LA port, which is, in the top 10 ports in the world. Some of them ships have been sitting out there for a couple of months now. But even when they get them, even when they finally get them in, there's a shortage of truck drivers now to get them from point A to point B. So, we've got a lot of rising prices because people still have some money, to spend with that, and they're trying to spend it, and nothing's coming at them. So you've got more dollars chasing fewer products, which means raising prices, right? Rising prices. Doesn't have a whole lot to do with the amount of money that's been printed, because that amount of money that's been printed isn't actually going into the economy. It's hitting, it's hitting the U.S. Treasuries, it's hitting the stock market, stuff like that. But it's not actually coming out full tilt out here into the economy. So yeah. Let me see here. Let me see. What's going on? Aramis, what's going on? Good to see you. Sphere, what'd you say? You said I have an alternative count where we are now on the top of wave 5 of 1 of 5. Well, that would be interesting. Does it start back at wave 5 of 1 of 5? Oh, you mean of this last 5? Oh, okay. Yeah. Wave 1 of 5. So you're talking about, let me see here. I don't know. I guess I have to pull it up here. Do I plan on trying to short wave 3 or just selling spot and rebuying the retrace? Yeah, I'm not really interested in doing a whole lot of... if we get to wave 3, it's going to depend on what that price action is like there. I'm not interested in getting caught on some really wonky movement. And if this turns out like it normally does at the end of these bull runs, if anything, I might take partial profits. But just to make sure that I don't, in case it just takes off without me or does something different than what I'm thinking a lot quicker than I can get to it, that it leaves me out. So I'll probably, I don't know that I'll actually get rid of all positions. I think maybe take partial profits and try to buy in partially a little bit lower, I think is what I'm going to try and do. But yeah, for me, it'll be more along the lines of these larger wave counts probably. I mean, I'll still do some trading, really short term, inside what's going on here, but when they're more definitive movements. At this point in here is where I'm really looking for those higher confidence trades to get in or out. If they're not higher confidence, I'm not really too interested in getting in and out because it could just keep pushing up, pushing up, pushing up. Very small pullbacks along the way as it goes there. Let me see here. So, Fair, you were talking about in the community discussion channel? Let me see what you got there. Let me see. Oh, let me kind of catch up. Community discussion channel. Is this the chart here? Let me kind of pull up this chart here. Is it under the name Tristan? Okay, that's what I was just about to ask you. Okay, yeah. You can't throw me off there. All right, let's see here. So you've got this. Let me see here. So, yeah, well, first of all, this is going to have to be a flat right here. So it'll be 1 over here. And then this will have to be a flat. This just doesn't work out as a 1 any other way. But that's, minor with what we're looking at here. I'm trying to figure out how you get this over here to a 3 is what I'm trying to figure out. Because you would potentially have a 1-2 here. This can't be a 3-4 here because this is a diagonal right here, right? See, this is the real problem, is this potential diagonal. To try and make this a 3. I think maybe you're looking at it as a 3-4, maybe because it's just a large pullback, maybe. But again, this is the one thing I've talked about a few times, is this area in here, because you do have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of thing here. Maybe, see, I really just don't know how else you get this out of 5 here. Coming off this 2 here. I mean, you could do this. You can potentially get, some sort of ending diagonal out of this area. But if you do, this has to be then the end up here. Because, again, a diagonal can only come as your first wave or your last wave, right? And it can't come as both. But, again, when we look into this area here, this issue right here is what kind of really catches me off guard right here as far as trying to figure out what may be going on. But, again, we'll see how it plays out. I may go back in there and see if I can find some way to make this work decently in here, just as a, in case, as we look at it there. But yeah, we'll see how that all works out. If this was to be 5 coming up here, as a 1 of 5, what would that do for us? Let me see here. If we were to look at this, just to get a kind of an idea here. I mean, the 2 areas you'd be looking for a pullback is this high volume node around 55 and this one down here at around 47. And so coming off that, if it was right about there, you could look for a 3 up here at 112.5 and a 5 up here at about 125.9. Those are just standard targets, If it did pull back a bit further here to the 38.2, around 47, then you got 104 and basically 117.7. Again, these are just standard targets. If it overextends on the way up there, and it probably would if it's going to be the end of this bull run, then you would see it most likely extend much further coming off there. So yeah. So, we'll kind of work with what I'm looking at the moment here, and we'll see, does it, when we finally get a larger pullback, then we can kind of look back and go, okay, is there any adjustments that need to be made? Yeah. I mean, that's usually how we do it. we kind of go with what we have as it builds out. But it becomes kind of crazy when you get these potential overextensions because the waves subdivide, and then you kind of try to figure out, okay, where's the end of that subdivision happening? So yeah. Hey there, Mark. Good to see you. Let's see here. 83 Madden says this looks more like to them looks more like a ABC correction and a flat. Well, if this was to be you talking about this whole thing right here? If this was to be a flat, this has to be an ABC down for this to be an ABC up, and this is pretty clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't, as far as a flat goes from up here, A, B, and C, that wouldn't work for me. So it wouldn't be a flat correction. Because a flat correction has to have an ABC down for A and an ABC up for B, and then 5 down for C. Yeah, and so, I mean, sometimes you get in there and you look and go, well, maybe it could be a 3 or a 5. I don't know. In this case, it looks pretty clear to be a 5 for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So, yeah. But just, again, look at there. This as a 335 here. Yeah, I've got this as a flat here. Yeah, I've got it, as an ABC, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I've got that. Sure. Which is how I got my 4 down here. When everybody else was calling for it to go well down lower. And we said, it may, but I said right now I think we've probably got this here. But everybody's kind of looking at this as an ending diagonal here, right? So everybody's kind of looking at this as an ending diagonal, which again, we talked about, we discussed and said, it's definitely possible. But I was looking, much more likely as an ABC down, ABC up, and then 5 down here to get that expanded kind of flat thing going here. Yeah. So, we'll continue to see how this plays out. Right now, we're about to pop on that all-time high. And if we're going to get over that all-time high, then the only way, for those of you interested in whether this may be a B or not, the only way this becomes a B is if this is an A down, but it has to be 3 down. If it's 5 down as an A, you can't have B go above it. Anytime you've got 5 waves, you can't have a wave pull back below it and then continue on. Because once you pull back below that 5 waves or beyond that 5 waves, it sets it off. It's done. It says that's it. So, if we're breaking out above this all-time high up here, for anybody that thinks that maybe this is a B here, I'm not sure how we would get that as a B at that point. Again, because it seems pretty clear to be 5 waves down. And then, of course, work with what we're working with here as we head up. So, yeah. Let me see here. Hank's got something over here. It counts as a 5, he says. It's a scare. Okay, you got a different chart over here. Okay, put the A in the wrong spot. What do you got over here? Let me kind of pull this over here. So you've got 5 down here as an A, and then you're looking at ABC up for a B. Possible. No, wait, let me see. I don't even know if that's possible. Wait, I'm trying to figure out what you've got. A, B. Oh, no. You've got 5 up here like we should have. Okay, like we have 5, and that's an A, a B, and a C. And you're saying it just stops right before the swing high there? I mean, it's possible. I mean, it could be a zigzag. It's possible. And bring it down right below the wave A there. What's that relationship between wave A and C here, though? Just curious. It'd be pretty close to a 1-to-1. right there. Normally we don't see zigzags pull back that deep. Normally, if it's going to be corrective and it pulls back 90%, it's going to be a flat. I mean, so on that alone, I would probably go, okay, yeah, technically possible, but is it likely? And I think maybe much less likely than likely. Not impossible. Let me zoom in a bit here on this right here. I don't know. Can you get 3 waves out of this? Because in your thing, wait, no, you said 5 up there. No, you're fine. You're fine. Never mind. I'm sorry. You said 5 up there. Yeah. So, I mean, it is possible. It's possible. But again, I think we have to look at, is it likely or not? Again, I think a lot of times the problem with a lot of new traders is that they get in there and then they look at all the possibilities, and the possibilities are what frees them up, right? And then they get that analysis paralysis, right? So you're telling me there's a chance. But, again, to trade properly, you really have to kind of look at what's more likely or not to happen, I think. So, yeah, I mean, I think it could be possible, but I don't necessarily, at least at this point right now, think it's think that's likely. I think if you're thinking that's what it's going to happen, what you need is a drop down below this swing low right here, because this would be your A, B, C, so below B here at 39.6. If you drop below that from here, and we drop below that, then okay, yeah, we'll go with that. But until then, we'll watch this pullback, if we get one here and how far it comes to see what we're doing there. Yeah. But yeah, that gets pretty close to that all-time high. You're right, though. And again, if it does, just for anybody paying attention, if it does, or listening in, if it does break this all-time high here, again, on Coinbase, that's 64,899. If we do break out above that, obviously, because we have 5 waves down, we can't have 3 waves up as a correction going above where those 5 waves started. So that would invalidate it. But until then, it is possible. Sure. Let me see here. But again, I think a lot of traders out there, I've noticed in social media, they tend to just put out all these, it's possible. But I think as a trader, you have to learn to differentiate between what's possible and what's likely. And then you kind of go with what's most likely. It doesn't mean you're going to be correct, but it means that, if it's more likely, at least you've got more of a chance of it potentially happening there, So yeah, definitely something could potentially work out there. Could potentially work out, sure. But if it continues, obviously, going up from there, not a whole lot to be said on that, right? If we jump in here to the 4, see, here's my thing. The 4 hour, we're just getting started here on the 4 hour down here. So, I mean, there's a lot of room. If price wants to continue rallying, there's a lot of room there. The other thing is, we have this moving in sideways between the R1 and the pivot, and, we basically got a check here of that pivot right before it formed. And then we had this secondary check right here, basically testing that pivot area. And really kind of, in terms of supply and demand structures here, it kind of hit this demand structure in this wick almost perfectly to the EQ there, as you can see. So, I think we're headed up higher here, and it doesn't take much higher to get to that all-time high. So, yeah. What is happening? Good to see you checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. Do you watch NASCAR? I mean, it is Charlotte. Look, another left-hand turn. Right? Anyway, so, I mean, I think at least locally here, I think what's going on right here suggests that we're probably going above that R1 pivot, which will take us above the all-time high, which will then, of course, obviously invalidate that. But we'll see. Nothing's ever guaranteed here, guys. Okay? Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cup and handle in this area here. Again, man, I'm such a stickler for patterns and the way they look, right? And so Hank's looking at potentially this being, whoops, this being a cup right here is what he's looking at. Whoops, come on. Right here. What I don't like about it is this right here. It doesn't necessarily disqualify it as such, but the fact that we went from basically the midpoint of the cup here, we went almost straight up, almost to the top of it, rather than kind of finishing out with it here, really makes it iffy to me. To me, myself personally, I wouldn't consider this a cup and a potential handle because of what's going on right here. I would have needed to have seen it kind of rally along here. It doesn't have to be perfectly along the, along the bottom here, kind of like this here, but you don't want any real excessive movement up toward the middle of it. And you're getting that right from the middle of it here, all the way right back up. Remember, guys, when it comes to patterns, the more they look like the pattern, the more likely they are to be that pattern. And so, especially with cups and handles, the more price tends to ride along what would be the cup there, the more likely it's going to be that pattern. When you start really pulling off like this and getting these large moves up before, outside that pattern, that really, at least in my experience over the last, 25 years or so, really kind of makes it much less likely to be. So, yeah. Can't ever guarantee, guys. Can't ever guarantee. I hope you guys know that by now. If you're trading, it's speculation, and speculation means there's no guarantees. There's always risk. Okay? If you actually go look up the definition. No NASCAR, but let's go, Brandon. I had to ask about NASCAR, man. It is Charlotte, so, Mark, the look, another left-hand turn. That's from, what's the comedian? He has Ahmed, the dead terrorist, and, oh, man, all those other ones. I can't even think of what he does. Jeff Dunham. That's him. He's got that little redneck, puppet he's got. That's what he says. Look, another left-hand turn. America's Son, what's up, man? He says, while it's very hard to nail the top, any trading suggestions we could use to help take profit near the top, minimize drawdowns? Yeah, follow me. Realistically, the longer you're in a particular market, the more cycles you've been through, the easier it becomes. It doesn't ever really become easy, but it becomes easier to kind of note when it tops in. Again, for those of you that were following me back here, I talked about this was likely, some kind of top here. It doesn't have to be the top, but a local top. And I mentioned the euphoria that was going on, laser eyes, diamond hands, all these things being talked about everywhere, right? Things you don't really hear about too much now. And I said, that's what you're looking for. When people say, oh, everybody's bearish or bullish, and so price needs to turn, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just speaking. They don't have any real experience. What we're talking about is what we saw up here. That kind of excessive exuberance, that kind of euphoria, that kind of, it just can't possibly go down. Everybody's got laser eyes. I got diamond hands, And then they went off with even stupider things, spaghetti arms or fingers or whatever. I don't even know. But it's kind of like everybody got off the charts and started getting all into the hype phase of it, right? And that's kind of really what you're looking for there. But it's not easy to kind of quantify, right? So what you want to look for is pay attention to your price action and volume, use Elliott Wave to potentially find targets, as far as where it might go. Man, so much of it just really comes off, to really look at tops. A lot of it comes off of how are the market participants, how are they? Again, what I talked about over here. When everybody was talking about, it's going up from here. And I was like, yeah, possible. But I said, I don't think so. I said, there's some kind of top here. It doesn't have to be the top, but it has to be probably a local top of some sort because of those things. Other things you can look for, again, you can look for things like this here, where you've got this overlapping kind of price action on the larger time frames. Again, people look back afterward. They said, yeah, look, this was an ending diagonal here, or, a wedge is what they said, rising wedge, right? And of course, our count doesn't come off that. Our count comes off, as A, B, C. Here's an expanded flat. But nonetheless, you've had that overlapping kind of price action going on. You can look for that. Yeah. There's no easy, one simple way to find a top. But definitely want to look at the larger time frames. You don't want to hang on these lower time frames. If you're looking for a market top, guys, like Bitcoin top here, you're going to want to look at these daily through weekly kind of things. All right. Now, one thing we can note here, look at this weekly. Look at how we've got this longer. Now, we've got higher highs through this point and lower highs through this point. So your real bearish divergence is here, guys. It's not here, okay? It's these points here. Because then price takes this big turn down, this 50% drop or whatever here, right? So now from here, this is your next point, and at this point, we've just got higher highs. But what we can notice is we were pretty high up here. And so, kind of when you're looking at that, you're going to expect wave 5 to most likely terminate prior, the RSI to terminate prior to this swing high here. So you've got this swing high RSI here at 94.74. I would expect wave 5 to terminate prior to that, maybe around this 86 to 90 area, maybe. As far as your weekly RSI is something I'd be looking about. If we zoom out here, another thing you can look at are these weekly and monthly pivots. We're pretty well into this, so I would expect price to rally through that R5 pivot there, so at least around that 100,000 area. Now, that's not going to tell you necessarily when it's going to be done, because here's the thing. If we get into this kind of situation here, you're just talking about just boom. You can't, it's not easy to just say, oh, well, there's the top or whatever. Now, as you get toward the top, again, you're going to hear those weird things. Another example is those of you that know Scott Melker. He started with me. He joined us back in, as a member back when I first started this TWC in 2017. And, and I got to know him pretty well there, a few months in. He started in September. So it's December here. And I'm talking with him about this. And again, this is a story I've told before. Right here probably about a week before the top was in, around that last week. I don't remember who it was or anything, but I remember that somebody said, oh my gosh, we're going to be 88,000 or 86,000 by February. And I told Scott, I said, nah, man, I said, listen, we're probably just about at the top. I might give it 22, maybe on a stretch, 21 and a half, 22 maybe, but it's not going any more than that. And sure enough, it was within that week that it topped out there right around 20, right? And so again, it was more of that understanding what's going on with the market participants, that euphoria that goes on there, is probably a more likely way to find that target. So yeah. But right here, I think, again, you can use regular pivots. The monthly pivots suggest 97 to 100,000 kind of area. Makes a lot of sense. If we look here, if you're wondering, well, what kind of targets are we looking at? I mean, if we're looking on the monthly here, 1, 2, working on 3 here, right? So we would expect it to, continue pushing on up there as we were looking for it here. Again, the idea there's 1, 2. Then it gets you kind of up there toward that area there, probably with some overextensions. By the way, you can notice here on the monthly, we're just crossing bullishly back here in September. We just crossed bullishly back in September. And so, we're on an uptrend here on the Stochastic RSI and the RSI there on the monthly. Weekly, weekly saying we're probably getting, nearer to a major top there. So again, looking for that potential move up there, a nice kind of, once we break out above this all-time high, this becomes price discovery. And often in price discovery, price moves pretty quick. So we could see a pretty quick rally on up there toward that, I'm just now noticing this 79,440 is almost that R4 pivot there on the weekly. So again, pretty interesting look there. Looking at here from the, you're looking at the count here on the weekly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 1, 2. Again, 3, 4, 5 minimum going up. Hey there, Sylvia. Yeah, no, I got glasses. I just don't put them on a whole lot. I'm still struggling with that. Yeah, potentially 3 white soldiers here on the weekly. It's a little questionable because of the size of the wicks. Wicks should be very minimal, if preferably none at all. But, you know, I might give it a 3 white candles right there. If you don't know, 3 white candles is a bullish trend recognition candlestick pattern. So in that case, of course, looks like, you know, should be heading up overall. Oscar says 80,000 call was some CNBC expert or something. Again, just regularly, just regular extensions is, around 88,525. But historically, Bitcoin tends to really overextend, really kind of rally. So I would not say that we're probably, I would say we're going to get at least there, but likely higher. I think I've been saying that for a bit. BKD Casey, what's up? Good to see you checking in. America's Sun says, because 2018 was a blow-off top, March was more distribution style. I'll be following you and waiting for my uncle to ask about Bitcoins again. Yeah. The good thing about March, let me see here. March 2020 was distribution style. March 2020 was crazy, man. Yeah, you had this big dip down here. What I would actually probably look at here is that this right here was reaccumulation all in through here. And so then this becomes a terminal shakeout. And what a terminal shakeout is, just a really excessive full, supply just coming in hard, pushing it well below the range there. So, I mean, I would look at something probably, I don't know, I think you can probably look like this as your distribution here. And then, I don't know how you want to do this. Maybe something like, I can't even get this to do it. Try one more time here. And then we'd have to be looking at this kind of like this here. And so what happens then is you have this this ridiculous kind of move here. I think the best way to look at it, though, as I've told you guys, we often try to look horizontally for Wyckoff ranges. But, a lot of times you're going to get it like this, where it's in a downward or an upward trend. And so what you have here then is you have this becomes your reaccumulation on this decline here. And so again, you get your your buying climax here, and then that becomes, you move down here to your selling climax area, your local selling climax, automatic rally, ST in phase B, pops up, and then you get this terminal shakeout, which then rallies back up through it. You get your reaccumulation, local reaccumulation right here at the top of that, this sideways movement right here, and rallies up, comes back, retests this swing high up here, and continues up. So, I mean, if I was to look at this, I would say this is reaccumulation. So it starts out with a bit of distribution right here, and then it becomes this reaccumulation range on this decline here with this ending terminal shakeout. I think it's really kind of how we would looked at that right there. What's my take on the RSI and Stochh RSI being overbought on the daily? How do you expect it to reset if Bitcoin only corrects to 58? Eventually the bill comes due, right? Yes, eventually it does. But again, if you look historically, Bitcoin here, it can stay elevated. Oh, this is the weekly. Let's go ahead and move to the daily here. It can stay elevated for a while here. So notice here, it never actually resets. Off this rally here, the last time it reset here was the 14th of September, 2017. And so for the rest of that quarter, it never actually reset. You got close to it right here in November. November was that last big one before we went up. But it never actually fully reset. And so, now the Stochh RSI did, as you can see here. But, they can tend to stay overbought or oversold for a while. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily look at them. And really, guys, here's the thing: if you're using these indicators like RSI or Stochh RSI, which have these overbought, these momentum indicators that have overbought and oversold levels, excuse me, you don't want to use them by themselves to tell you when a top is in or a bottom's in. You want to look at them in relation to maybe some price action. So for instance, if we look here on this decline, right back here in February of 18, right before it, this black one here is where we actually had the drop down into oversold, but we were already oversold on the Stochh RSI for many thousands of dollars above, almost twice as high, right? But we say, okay, is this really the bottom here? Well, it hits this structure right here, right? And really kind of this structure right here. That's where it hits. So you have this support that you're looking for, and you have the oversold indication. And in that case, it's probably oversold at that point. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what you would look for there. Let me kind of catch up with you guys here. I don't know. Just trying to. You guys have really been chomping at here, right? My opinion on Bitcoin pairs, if we go to 100K, Andy wants to know. So what happened, if you guys don't know, if you weren't around in 2017 or maybe weren't paying attention, so you had your Bitcoin high here around December 17th, right? But you didn't have your altcoin high until the first week of January. So if we throw on here and we go, okay, total 2. Let's see here. There we go. You see how that was? So you had your I'll just go ahead and turn these to a line chart right here so it's easy to see. But, Bitcoin hit its top here, and then alts rallied right over here for a final push up there. And then they caught up. But what you failed to notice here is during this time, alts were rallying as well. I remember XLM was one of the trades. XLM and actually coming all the way up through Q4, XLM had a lot of opportunities. We published a lot of trade setups with that. Another one that happened was right around this area. XVG was around 55 sats or so, and then it rallied up to 2,000 sats or something here in this next week and a half, something like that. That offered some great opportunities there. There was just a lot of everybody rotated out of Bitcoin here into alts for that final move up. So again, I think pairs will do great overall, but you've got to look for that rotation out of Bitcoin into those Bitcoin pairs to kind of see that rally up. But as you can see here, alts generally rallied up with Bitcoin, and then they had their blow off there. That last few weeks there, probably 3 or 4 weeks. Let me see exactly where that is before I say what. Probably 3 or 4 weeks, right? Yeah, look at that. 21 days, 3 weeks after Bitcoin topped out. They topped out. So yeah. Let me see here. Let me see. You just bought a huge bag of XLM and ZIL now, so undervalued and oversold. And yeah, getting some out as well. yeah. By the way, guys, understand, and I want you to take this in the least offensive way as possible. You can pretty much buy any alt here, and it's going to do great. If what we have here coming up is the end of the end here, if this is the end of this bull run here with Bitcoin. See here. Yeah, so if this is the end of Bitcoin going up here, you can pretty much buy any altcoin and you're going to make good money on it. So don't kid yourself into thinking you're a great trader if that happens. And I only say that because psychologically, emotionally, what it does is we tend to think that we're better than we are, and then we're going to do something stupid that makes us lose that money. Remain humble as this thing gets going. Understand, especially if you're not a seasoned professional who's been making money in and out of bull and bear markets for years. Please understand where you are realistically and just use that to keep yourself in check, so you can limit the things that you wouldn't normally do. Okay, that are going to lose your money. God, I hope that came out right, guys. I don't want y'all thinking I'm calling you, stupid or, or anything like that. What I mean, though, is that that's what happens emotionally. Okay? So, by the way, notice the alts here topped out after Bitcoin here topped out as well. I haven't looked at this, actually, just now seeing this. How long was that? Basically about a month later. So again, that 3 to 4 week thing seems to do it there. Now, alts themselves did make a new higher high prior to Bitcoin, which hasn't made a higher high yet. So that's kind of interesting. But again, this local major top here, had alts following it up there afterward for a month. So yeah. Yes, indulging one's ego is the kiss of death for an investor. Agreed, man. Again, guys, I tell you, and I tell you over and over again, I'm going to keep telling you, at the end of the day, your biggest enemy in the markets is not Wall Street, it's not whales, it's not all that silliness that everybody wants to blame everything on. It's yourself. It is your own emotions. That is your biggest enemy as a trader. And you're going to have the toughest time dealing with that than anything else. So make sure you guys understand that, and that's why, again, we talk about things like candlestick and volume color, word usage, term usage like bears and bulls, stuff like that. Okay. So yeah, make sure you're watching that. If we jump on here real quick to the DXY, it's possible that wave 4 has ended here, and we've got a wave 5 target at 95.134, which would give us a wave circle 1. The other possibility is that this is a 1-2 here. But what we're going to look and see is, do we rally up impulsively through that 95.134 level? Because if this is a 1-2, that would give us this wave 3 up here at around 97.762. So, right now we're looking at this as potentially 3, 4, and a 5 up. But we need a breakout. We need a nice impulsive breakout above, this 4-hour pivot, this wave B swing high up here at 94.171. If we can break out above that, that locks in this decline here in 3 waves and is corrective, and we should, continue up higher from there. So, if you're trading Forex and whatnot, this is, especially if you're trading those USD pairs, some you want to keep an eye on. Remember, though, the DXY is just a mirror image of the Euro USD. I've talked about that. As a matter of fact, I went into that a little bit in this week's market breakdown there, guys. So if you haven't, sign up and grab it and look at it, man. But basically, because the Euro USD makes up about 58% of the weighted average of the DXY, that's what gives it its value, right? Basically, the DXY is going to be a mirror opposite of the Euro USD. Now, interestingly, the Euro USD is the best euro pair that's held up. The euro against the Australian dollar, against Great British pound, stuff like that, looks a lot worse off and has been continued to sink. And so if we look at that and say, okay, overall, the euro is weak against most everything else, the other big currencies, then even though it's held up decently against the Euro USD for right now, the odds are in the favor of the USD to continue higher against the euro, which again would just mean that the DXY continues up overall. So definitely something to pay attention to there, guys. If you're interested in that, what's going on with the dollar there and what it means potentially with everything else there. Don't forget, guys, I've talked about. What is it here? The we had the market tops in 29 and 87 came in August, and their big moves down, the starts of their declines, the real declines for Black Monday and leading into the Great Depression happened in October, right? And so again, let me see here. Let me see if I can find my chart here. So if we look here, that's the S&P. Okay, let's do this. Oh, it's 1 month. We'll look at this chart right here. So, there we go. Again, 1987. Let me just kind of get rid of all this for a minute here. So this was Black Monday here. Notice, stock market hits high there, 3rd of August, 87. That month, right? So in August of 87, and then it was this move down here in October of 87. That was your big move down, right? This huge move down. I mean, that's it. You know, that swing high there. Look at that, like a 40% drop, guys. Now, prior to that, again, if we look at the Great Depression here, right up here, again, you see here, 383.96, 386.10. Okay, so it was basically around September, it looks like. I thought it was August, but it looks like it was right there at the beginning of September there, of 29. And then it was October of 29 where you had this large drop down, right? That large drop there. Again, 41%, 41%, right? So fast forward to today, and things are a bit different here. We've got a rally going on. We're nearing the top here. So we had the top here in August again at 35,631.19. And right now, so that's 35,631. Right now, we've got a high of 35,458. So basically about 1,200 points there, it looks like, below that all-time high. And it's now October. And so, you know, again, things look interesting now. We're right here at the R1 pivot. You know, do we find support here in this June wick here, this demand structure in June, and then kind of rally on up there? Or, you know, do we have that turn down? And so, you know, that's kind of one thing we're looking at. No guarantees on it, of course. But we'll wait. You know, we'll see what's going on there. We've got a turn down here. But it is starting to curl a bit because of what's going on right now on this monthly, on the Stochc RSI. You know, we topped out there in August and then kind of been coming down since then, of course. Again, overall lower. But remember, the bearish divergence here was this. You know, this high to this high. And then, you know, again, this high to this high, you know, where you get these lower down here. So really, we're kind of coming off the bottom here where there really isn't any bearish divergence yet. But overall movement, you are getting a much lower high on that RSI here. So this top was the top. This is the highest the RSI has ever been, guys. Look at this. I didn't even notice this. We had the lowest the RSI had ever been back here in that drop almost at the bottom of the Great Financial Crisis when the market was almost at the bottom there. Bottomed out in March, and that's about where we are here on the low. And the highest ever up here in December of 2017. December 2017 was top of the Bitcoin, right? It was at all-time high. So good times there. But interesting. Yeah, I hadn't looked at that, but you can see that we've gotten lower and lower as it's gone through. And then we've gotten higher and higher here as it's gotten through as well. So much more extreme movements with what's going on. And I think that's really just a product probably of the leverage, the margin, stuff like that that's going on. You know, again, of the overall just the amount of money that's available, you know, and the way people have moved into the markets, and then of course, you know, movement off that gold standard back there in right over here, which sent us into this decade-long sideways movement here, this decade-long range, right there. So again, gets kind of interesting here. So it does look like we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. The question is what's going on here. I think we can make it. I mean, we can maybe make an argument. We've got a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3, 4, maybe a little bit higher left on it. Which, if you're worried about how does Bitcoin get up and go, whatever, well, if we're making a new all-time high, guess what? Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about that. The market's going to continue to make that one last push. And maybe we get that push here between the Dow, between the legacy markets and Bitcoin. Again, zooming out here to the monthly, it does look like we may have a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us a 3, 4, and then a 5 coming up. If we do, if this is just a 4 on the pullback here, without price, really overextending or anything, generally I'm going to look for a initial target, wave 5 here at 36,143, secondary target up at 36,973. If this is 3 and this is 4 and we're heading up here now. Might end up as a ending diagonal here. We might see, again, potentially a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then boom, strong drop off. If this does end up as an ending diagonal here, we are going to get a strong drop back down. That's the way diagonals work. So we can watch for that. But we haven't broken out above that swing high yet. So, it's still possible this is a 1, 2. And if this is a 1, 2, then we're going to get a strong move down for wave 3. So that's what we'll see here, as we kind of look at it there, where it may be headed, what it might be doing. There is room here on the weekly. As you can see here, Stochk RSI. It is possible we've got a 1, 2 working our way up here. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty close. But you got your 3 up here, and then your 5 up here at around 36,750 or so, if this is a 1, 2 here. And that doesn't even have to end as an ending diagonal there. That can just, go up normally. But again, if it's getting toward the end, you might see more of that. All right. Now, one of the things that you should be paying attention to, which might help you out a bit, again, is margin debt. And margin debt just says, okay, well, it kind of tells you what's the confidence of the market, right? So if you're getting higher highs and that margin debt's dropping, it's usually a signal that the market isn't as bullish about the market, right? They're concerned about some things. So you can go to the FINRA site here, and I'll go ahead and pop this link in there for you guys. And this is something I talked about in the newsletter. You can look here month and month. Gives you debt balances, free credit balances, as you're looking for it there. And so, this shows you that you've got this, you had June here, which was 882, and then July it pulled back to 844. So the market was a bit more cautious there in July. But then it popped up to 911, and look at September, it dropped back down again. Now this is important because as you notice, it continues to rally otherwise, right? Look at this, January 798, 813 February, 822 March, 847 April, 861 May, 882 June. And now we're getting this back and forth with the months here as far as that margin balance, right? So definitely pay attention to that as you do it. I also included a chart in the newsletter this week that EWI posted with a video that they did, which shows that there's not much money, if any at all, left out there to... let me go and bring this up real quick. Let me go and bring it up for you guys to kind of put into the market. Let me see here. All right. Let's see here. By the way, for those of you who always ask me, man, how many should I be trading at any one time? 100 years ago, Wyckoff in his book Studies in Tape Reading, he mentioned that it's better for a tape reader to trade in one stock than 2 or 3. Study implies concentration. A person who trades in a dozen stocks at a time cannot concentrate on one. And so, many of you all may find that you've got money everywhere. Stop doing that. That's one of the quickest, easiest ways to lose money. You can't possibly devote the time needed to understand what you're trading if you've got money everywhere. keep your numbers low, guys. I only trade a couple of things at a time usually. And if I'm doing that after 25 years, maybe there should be something to take note in that, right? You can't possibly give it the attention that it needs if you're not, if you're spread out, spread too thin. 5, 10, 20, 50 different things that you've got your hands in, okay? Do what you need to do, but I'm telling you guys, pay attention to that, okay? So here's the chart here, and I give this Elliott Wave International, that's the link to get into their free thing and kind of get access to all of this. But anyway, this chart right here shows the S&P 500 rising here, and the mutual fund cash to assets ratio, retail money market ratio, RIDEX money market percentage, and then net cash available to invest. And NYSE free credit and cash accounts plus free credit and margin accounts minus the debit balances and margin accounts. So what this says is this net cash available to invest specifically says that that the markets are topped out as far as how much money they have in there, which again makes that idea that if we do have a fifth wave, it's going to be just not very much higher above where we already are at the all-time high. There's just not money left in there between your free credit and your cash accounts and your free credit and your margin accounts to put in there, right? Yeah, exactly. The rubber band effect could be very, very nasty. I expect it will probably be. Again, you can look at the mutual fund cash to assets ratio 10-month average. You can notice that it rises here at the drops. It rises as it's dropping, rises as it's dropping, drops as it rises. It's that opposite. Same with everything else here. Everything is ostensibly just really disgustingly low. So even if there is a little bit higher to go, guys, you have to understand that that's probably it. That it's, everything's on a very thin wire right now. And so anyway, this is a great thing here. I don't have a link to the exact video at the moment, but if you follow that link I gave you earlier in here, or if you get the on my Twitter profile there, on the feed there, or right here, this link in the newsletter, you click on and join their EWE club or EWI club, which again, you don't have to give them a credit card number or anything. But if you go in there, you can look at everything they're posting that you have access to. And there'll be one that talks about, are they running out of cash, basically, something like that. And so that's where you'll get this one, and they go into a bit more explanation of it. But just definitely something to be pay attention to, okay? Hey, Mark, have fun in that other webinar. So yeah, again, definitely got to pay attention on that. Today we've got the new that Bitcoin futures ETF. That's right here, BITO, guys. BITO is what it's at. So far, we've got about 17.591 million shares traded. So it's got some pretty good volume today so far. If we zoom in here, let's zoom in here back. If I'm looking at this, it's much too early to know whether this is a 1-2 or what's going on here. But if this is a 1-2, wave 3 is up there around 42.46. Wave 5 is up there around 42.86. Yeah, it looks like it might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ABC. Yeah, and then heading up there. So at least this 42.46 area on that. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Right now, we're running into this this supply up here. And we're coming up on the EQ of that, so I'd watch out for that kind of area there, maybe around 41.65. To right up there around the 41.80 kind of area. Watch for a rejection in that area. If we get a rejection there and it drops back down below this swing low here, that'll say this is an ABC and we're heading down lower then. And so if it does that, if we get that rejection in that kind of area there, kind of gives us a wave 5 down here around 37.73. On that. So it's much too early right now, guys. I can't tell you much about it other than that right now. Again, it's in 1, 2, 3 waves right now. So if we get a rejection anywhere from where it's at to that kind of 4180 area, and it takes it down below this swing low here at 4075, that says 3 waves is done, and we're potentially heading down here to about 3773 at minimum. Now, other things could be happening here. Maybe we get a flat. Maybe this is a flat. Maybe this is an A, B, C, and then A, B, C. And we'll have 5, so it'll drop a little bit below, maybe around 39.75 or so, and then rally back up. Could be a triangle forming in here. So there's a lot of possibilities if it pulls back. If it continues to rally above that swing high there, though, this 42.09, then we're probably looking at this as a bottom, and this is, working its way up here as a 1, 2, minimum, wave 5 up here, 42.86. But this is that ProShares Bitcoin strategy ETF. It's the ETF that we was talking about last week. It's based on Bitcoin futures, not on Bitcoin itself. So take that for what it's worth. But there's what we kind of be working at there. Let me see. Was there anything else I need to talk about on that real quick? We're getting ready to do the drawing here, guys. Netflix and Tesla are going to release earnings this week. I said next week. I was writing this Sunday, so it meant this week. But it is this week. It's coming up. So I think the biggest thing to note, if you're Netflix, you've got Squid Game and Seinfeld, which add to your bottom line there and potentially help you beat EPS there of $2.56. But then you've got the Dave Chappelle controversy right now, which is going on, this October, and that might be enough to maybe dent it and keep them there. So those are the things really that kind of matter, I think, with Netflix at the moment. Tesla's big thing is that, you remember last quarter it delivered 20,000 more cars than what was expected. The question is what goes on this quarter. And so, do they continue to meet or exceed the expectation, or do they miss? And do they miss by a significant number? Remember, again, their cars, they're dealing with programming stuff, chips, shortages. They've got all these shortages and bottlenecks in their whole production line as well. So that may be something that brings them down. But if Tesla comes out good on that, I think we'll probably see the NASDAQ 100 pull higher, which is going to, again, I think everything kind of maybe goes up into a fifth wave there. And we've got that one last wave, just a bit higher with our legacy markets to ride along with Bitcoin just a bit higher. Well, Bitcoin a lot higher going in. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't normally trade earnings. I usually, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I usually stay away from news events because there's too much volatility. So you can be on the right side of the news event, but it could send price too far the other way and knock you out. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Especially if you're new traders, guys, or you just don't have a history of consistent profits, I would steer away from any news events. Wait till it gets done, then get in. Don't be in it when it happens. Just be out of it before it happens. Let it happen, let it cool down, and then get back in if you want to, whether it's long or short. The other way, again, you can be in the right direction, but just all that volatility with that news event can knock you out before it even goes in that direction as you expected. Okay? So that's my biggest advice as far as earnings and other news events go. But yeah. Let me see here. Common Man, what's up, man? I see you checking in. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Opinion regarding gradually accumulating silver or gold and selling out of the money calls. Let theta wreck the noobs and keep adding long-term hedge. Silver and gold. These are interesting charts at the moment here, guys. So I've got this chart here that I put on a gold chart. God dog it. It tried to set me up with a stupid account on there. That didn't work. And now it just comes up all the time. Let me see here. Okay. Paste this in here. So this is the chart I've got on gold here. So the big things to note about the gold chart is that we've got this 200. For these of you interested in your moving averages, the 200 MA has been holding gold down. Okay. Now we'll go ahead and move this on here. And there is a, let me see here. There we go. And you can see there was this attempt to rally, but look how it got shut down on today here. It's having, it tried to get above the daily pivot here, sent right back down. Tried to get to it, sent right back down. Finally broke out one day above, and then boom, right back down below. Couldn't get up the next day. Tried to get up today. It's being sent back down again. There's a lot of supply in here that is intent on, if it can, keeping gold below that pivot. And so, again, this is with this whole 200 MA over here. Now, locally here, we've got this range. And so far, prices kind of, remained at the top half of this range. Here's the EQ right here. We dipped below, rallied right back up. But we dipped down into this demand structure here, took some out of it, get up there. And so if we're coming back down in, I'm looking for lower lows. And if I'm getting lower lows, I'm thinking we're probably going to eat through that demand there and continue it going lower. Locally here, we've got this ascending channel. And if we're breaking down through that, I think that's a good first clue that top is probably in there. This is only in 3 waves. So if we're getting down below this swing low right here, which is $17.45 and 40 cents, $1,745.40. If we're dropping below that, that locks in this idea of an ABC here of 3 waves corrective, and we should be dropping below the lows there. And I would think potentially heading much lower here. So yeah, I mean, that I don't know that buying gold or silver is necessarily going to do a whole lot of good for you, honestly. Obviously, the risk is that silver will come down, but the premiums provide some protecting against the downside. If you're not going to sell for years, let it dip. Well, what are your years, though? Again, is silver something that you want to buy and hold on for 20 years before you get back to what you purchased it for? Potentially. Because the thing that I think people need to remember is when things come down, how long are they going to stay down? I think anybody that's just started trading in the last maybe 10 or 15 years think everything happens really quickly, right? Because it has lately. But if we look historically, that's only been lately. It's like as we've gotten to this point, like we're getting to the top, we're getting these, kind of like on Bitcoin here, right? Kind of like on Bitcoin here. Let me show you. Zoom out here a bit. So, coming up here in this fourth quarter of 2017, for instance, this was quick, right? Quick. It goes back up, right? And I think in the broader sense, when we look at that larger Dow Jones thing or, NASDAQ or anything like that you want to look at, but especially those longer ones like the Dow Jones have been around for a while, you'll notice that here over the last maybe, 20, 30 years, it's looking more like this right here, right? So if you've just started trading in that time, you haven't really looked at it historically, I think that really sets you up on this false bias that it's just going to be short-lived on the pullback. But you have to ask yourself, what if you're buying silver at, let me go ahead and pull this up here. Let me see, that's what I'm looking for. What if you're buying silver up here, right? Even right here, it's say $24, right? Let's say you didn't buy it up here at 30, but you're buying it here at 24. And with that, I'm going to zoom out here a bit. Are you okay if it drops down here to $8 or $9 and then it doesn't get back up here to $20 or $30 for 10, 20 years? Are you okay with that? And I think you kind of have to look at that as well when you're looking about anticipated returns. The idea of protecting returns and all these things is, what is the best place for your money? Where is the best place for your money? What's the best thing for you to do with your money? And you don't want money tied up when you could be using it to make exceptionally more money, right? So, yeah. Yeah, and see that, and I think that's where you have to kind of decide if that's exactly common man. I think it's where you have to kind of decide. At that point, I can't tell anybody, for instance, what they should do with that because my time preference or my preference on what's going on may be different than theirs. So yeah, I mean, things get kind of interesting in that. Let me think, how am I going to say this? So I mean, if you're trying to decide what it is that you should do, and in Common Man's case, he's got the idea that again, using the premiums to provide protection against the downside, depending on how long you want to hold it for, stuff like that. Depending on what your time preference is, that may work out for you. Me personally, I'm not. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not. How old did you say you were? 34. Because I'm not 34. I'm going to be 47 next month. So my time preference is a lot different. I don't want to hold something for, 10 or 20 years of just before it actually gets back to where it was, right? I can do a whole lot more with my capital, shorting it down and then buying it, riding it back up, right? Or even locally here, if it does prove that it's going to go higher from here, to buy it as it's rallying there. But that's my time preference because of, my age and things that I've got going on, stuff that I've got looking at. It does sound awful. Yeah, for silver. But again, if you think about it, you've got this super rally here for commodities, right? And with this significant move up, there should be an equally significant move back down. And so I don't know if I've got my count on here. I'll have to find it. Oh, wait, no, here it is. Yeah, so, again, my count here is that I've got an A down here and a B, and then we've got C coming down here. I've got this right here as a wave 4, A, B, C, D, E triangle. And then this thrust down seems to kind of suggest that that's what's going on there. So that gives me my A. And then moving up here, I've got my A, B, C, right, for B. And then just kind of moving down here, and there might be a leading diagonal printing right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that'll give us an A, a little rally up for B. Or, I'm sorry, 1, and then a little rally up for 2. And then 3, 4, 5, and then kind of turn back up there. So, for me, my count, that's kind of where it's at. Now, it's not lost on me that this could potentially be a bottom here and this could be moving up. So I'm definitely more than willing to watch it. I'll become interested in silver potentially bottomed here and heading to a new all-time high, or not a new all-time high, but a new local high here, if we break out of this descending resistance here. But that's just more interested. It doesn't mean I think that's what's going to happen. I think we definitely need to see a breakout above this swing high here at 30 and 35 cents, $30.35, to really kind of say, okay, we're going up higher. I think anything, other than that really kind of sets up the possibility that we've just got this leading diagonal of 1 here, 2 up, and then 3 back down. But we'll watch as this develops here and see where we're getting with it to see that. So yeah. But and so if this is correct, again, it has to drop down here below this $11.64. And so, again, looking at how this may play out here, that could get us around that $8 area, potentially. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of looking at with silver at the moment here, with it. I do have my dollar chart up here for comparison. And so, again, you should be seeing these generally moving opposite of each other, generally. So, from this swing low down here to the move up here, basically you have to move down in the dollar. And then the move up in the dollar, you got the move down here in silver. So, again, everything I think is really relative to the dollar, to the DXY. Bitcoin isn't relative to for anything it means anything to stocks or whatever, or to silver, gold, or whatever. They're just all risk on basically and moving opposite of the dollar, right? Again, people ask me, why does the dollar rally up when people get scared? And it's because when people get scared, they hoard dollars, right? So you're going to want to put your dollars away because you don't know what's going on. You want to make sure you have money to buy the things that you need to buy to pay the bills that you need to pay, right? Beyond that, again, for larger entities and whatnot, if you have U.S. debt, you have to pay that in U.S. dollars. So you necessarily, the higher the dollar rallies, the more expensive your debt becomes. And for a lot of countries with their debt level, that could break them. So they're going to rush in there to try and get their dollars, right? But then you have this whole liquidity crunch, and where are dollars, and what are they actually getting? Things we're kind of talking about right now. And if people are rushing for the dollar and they can't get them in the amounts that they need, that's just going to add even more power to that dollar rally. Now, I'm not saying that's all what's going to necessarily has to happen or whatnot, but this is the way it kind of works. And I think, again, I say this because so many people talk about, the dollar compared to the stock market or something, and it's really, you can look at that all you want, but really Bitcoin to legacy markets there and whatnot. But really, at the end of the day, you're looking at everything in relation to the dollar. What is the dollar doing? Because the dollar's telling you how the market feels. What's going on with the dollar tells you how the world is feeling about the dollar, which tells you ahead of time what's potentially going on with the economy. It's the bellwether. It's what you should be watching overall. So, yeah. $50 silver, you like that a lot better? But yeah, so, again, just kind of where I'm looking right now, where things may be, where they may be headed. Now, as for silver, we do have this potential bullish cross happening this month. But, again, we've still got another week and a half left in the month. So we'll see how it ends. But just because it does, cross bullishly here, it doesn't have to continue up higher. It could drop lower, right? And so, it doesn't necessarily have to go up from there. The monthly candle's looking pretty good at the moment here. We did have this thing happen right here, right? When it was down here below. Rally back up and then boom. So, I mean, could we see something like that kind of playing out here as it goes? But, I'm watching it right in this area to see what's going on. Right now, we're only pulling up to this previous area of support and resistance. That's where we're at the moment. So nothing huge has happened yet. But we'll see how it continues to play out there. But let's go ahead and jump on here, guys. Let's go ahead and do this. So I'm using a site here, guys, right now. Just so you guys can check it out yourself to make sure I'm not, cheating you out of anything here. There's the site that we're using. And so it's going to pull up three names. The top name is the PS5 winner. The middle name is the 1-year TWC subscription winner, Tier 3. And the bottom name will be the 6-month Tier 3 access for TWC, all right? Remember, as I said at the beginning there, if you're out of the U.S., if you're not a U.S. citizen or, then instead of the PS5, you'll be able to get the 6-month TWC access. If you are in the U.S. and you would rather have the 6 months of Tier 3 access instead of the PS5, you can do that, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Which is going to do better in the future, electric-related companies or hydrogen companies? Seems like all the money wants to go to electric. It doesn't seem like there's a whole bunch of... I like hydrogen technology myself, but it looks like, people want electric. It looks like that's where the governments are putting their money more than anything else. So unless that changes, I think that's probably where it's going to win out. Okay? All right, guys. You ready? Hey, Cody, you notice silver's been going in that sideways thing there for, a year now, right? It's been in this range here, right here. since back here about August of last year, so just over a year, it's been ranging. So, you know, if it goes up or down, either way, it should be a good move. It's got a lot of, as we talk about building of the cause here going on there. All right, you guys ready to do this? Ready to do this? You ready to do this? U.S. cotton. Yeah, throw me a ticker symbol on there. I'll grab it in a minute here. We'll take a look, okay? All right, guys. Here we go. We'll just hit the start, and it's going to do it. So, show random names. Number of winners, 3. Shuffle names. All right. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and put these on Twitter as well. Holy jeez, Bill, you won. So, Bill Stoku, he gets the 6-month, because I know he's over in the UK, so he's going to get the 6 month of Tier 3 access. Crypto Fofo is going to get a year of TWC Tier 3 access. And Moha Best 126. These are all the Twitter usernames, guys. You've got the 6 month TWC access as well. So I'm going to, what do you call it? Here after the show here, I'll mention you. That's what it is on Twitter. And then we'll go ahead and get it all figured out and get you guys set up, okay? By the way, guys, I've got a new way of doing this that'll be released this week. We'll do a drawing next Tuesday as well, and then we'll start doing them every week, and we'll do more drawings than just 3. But I've got a new way of doing this where you don't have to share it if you don't want to. You can get multiple entries depending on where you're following us or whatever, if you've got multiple social media accounts, stuff like that. And so you'll see that. I'll make a mention of that here probably in the next day or two. And then you guys can get set up with that for the next drawing, okay? So there it goes. That's it, guys. So, man, congratulations, y'all. This is exciting. I'm excited doing this. But we do have a lot more to give away, guys. Don't forget, a lot more, including up to $5,000 in Bitcoin and some other things as well. Okay? But, you know, again, you guys kind of kept talking to me about how much you wanted the access to TWC. And so, you know, we've made that available to do that, you know, again, with that, whether you PS5 or the Xbox or whatever. So, anyway, there you go, guys. All right, so that's that. Congratulations. Congratulations, guys. I'm excited. I know Bill's been with us for a few years now. So Bill's going to like that. He's been paying every day, guys. I tell you, you know, we've got a lot of these members that have been with us a very long time, and they do it because they believe in what we do. But, you know, it's always nice to get a little break from having to pay that if you can, right? Anyway, so yeah, so that's where we're going to go with that. Like I said, guys, follow us on any of our platforms that we have, our social media platforms, Twitter, okay, what's it called? Instagram, Facebook, Facebook. I think, we just got something up on Pinterest, which we're trying to work with there, putting like quotes and other stuff on there. Maybe some charts and stuff on there as well. If you ever have a question about if we're available, you know, if you see us, you think you see us on a certain platform and you're not sure if it's really us, please ask, man. Because I don't want you guys getting taken. I've seen people out there trying to supposedly sell something from us for some really, you know, cheap compared to what we would normally sell, or even things that we don't sell. And, you know, I don't want y'all getting taken with stuff like that. Sometimes they'll post comments in the videos. Ignore them. It's just stupid stuff. If you ever see somebody in there saying, hey, you need to go follow this person, blah, 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 understand it's probably spam. It's a scam and potentially going to, you know, maybe even infect your computer with malware. That's a big thing right now. So please be careful out there with that. If you're doing that, don't click on those links and follow those. Don't try to get your tips off TikTok or off Telegram. It's just, there's so many scams in Telegram. It's really difficult. TikTok, I don't know. Most of the financial stuff you see in there are kids that have just started doing it here in the last few months. And again, you know, everybody's a genius in in a bull run, right? In a bull market. You got to be careful with that, guys. I still see people talking about $100 or $1,000 Dogecoin. Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to keep on giving chemo. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and jump on it. This is XLK. This is your basically your technology fund. It's the Spider Select Sector Fund for technology, and we've got this huge rally up here toward this swing high up here at, what is that, 160 and 13 cents. I think this may be a 1-2. We'll wait and see if we can get it. If it breaks out above that swing high, it's not a 1-2. It's an A, B, C here. And then we're headed up. But if we get rejected here, that starts really kind of looking like, that it may be topped out here. This is, again, the 1 hour. Let me zoom out to the daily. There's kind of our daily here. And let me kind of take these off. See that there? Got a lot of movement up. What I don't like about this breakout here, it's on dwindling volume, and especially the breakout above the pivot. The spike in volume came prior to the pivot. You usually want to see your large candle spread and spike of volume come on the breakout above the pivot, above this swing high. It's not, though. So this has me cautious. And again, you do have this diminishing volume as we get up here. It's Stoke RSI here, topped out on the daily. Wants to turn back down. So, if you look at the daily here, if you can get an impulsive drop down below the R1 pivot, it's your first clue to kind of pay attention. If you continue that impulsive breakdown through the daily pivot, that's a pretty good sign that this is, at least an AB, if not a 1-2. And you're looking for lower lows here. So you've got this right here is my wave B. So what you really want to see is a breakdown through this swing low at 150.01. And if you're doing that, I think the idea that this is an AB or a 1-2 is all but guaranteed. And we're definitely most likely headed lower. I can't say definitely. I can't guarantee anything, guys, but most likely. And coming down here, you'll notice you've got this cluster right here. This area. And it's right there around that S2 pivot. So that daily S2 pivot is where I'd be looking. Right there around the 142 area. So if you're interested in shorting some technology sector here, working that in there might be a setup coming in for you as you watch it there. So, got that. Let's jump back over here at Bitcoin. We haven't looked at that here locally. Locally, I think we're on 3, 4, and on 5 here. Of that, it looks like we may have a leading diagonal here as a 1-2 of 5, a 5 kind of going up there. If so, that gives us a minimum wave circle 3 target at about 68,400. Gives us a minimum wave 5 up there at 69,937. So right below 70,000. Makes sense as a potential interim target. It is that 70,000 mark. It's a 10,000s number. It's a zeros number. So would make a lot of sense. But that would just be before a bit of a pullback here and then continuing higher off that. Melt up into equities year end. Yeah, Cody, I was talking about that earlier. We'll see what happens right now. Right now it's getting kind of close. If we break out, I think it's just got a little bit higher to go. So, yeah, maybe into November. It would really have to do a lot of slower movement to get up, to continue, I think, rising into December, the end of December there. But, it's possible, yeah. But we got to see if it breaks out from where it's at right now. First gets a new all-time high. But yeah, if you missed the earlier part of the show, definitely rewind to that when I'm done here and check it out. And you'll see what I was thinking in terms of Dow Jones and what's going on there. Yes, your name is there. I'm not even sure how. Is that Shua? Yeah, I remember putting that in there. It is in there. Let me see, where is it here? There you are right there. All right. No worries, guys. Got you all in there. I went through and made sure I checked it a couple of times just to make sure. But by the way, this new way I'm going to be doing this has its own software with everything, so it automatically pulls it all in together. I don't even have to, potentially make a mistake or anything in it. and it'll all be in there. So I think it'll be even better for you guys as far as we do that. But again, I'll let you guys know today or tomorrow probably. I'll get that put up on the site, on the website, and then give you guys a link, and then you can, go in through there and decide, how many entries that you want to get into there. And, it just has things like follow us on Instagram or follow us on YouTube or whatever, stuff like that. Make no mistake about it, guys. I'm not just a night guy trying to give out stuff. This is to help, get some more marketing for my business, for TWC. So, I mean, yeah. I had somebody complain, oh man, that's so much to do. I'm like, are you kidding me? Don't do it then. If it's too much for you to do, then don't do it. It's as simple as that. But I sometimes we get people that want to get, something for nothing. Again, this is the whole thing here. It's you're getting a chance to win, hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of stuff, or even Bitcoin or whatever, or, education stuff. I mean, PS5, Xbox, whatever. And so, I don't know. I don't know. I never thought to actually ever complain to somebody in a situation like that. It never makes sense to me. You're getting a chance to get it for free. What? You got to do something that takes about 10 seconds to do. Why is that too much? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah. So if it's too much for you to do, then, move on. You don't value the potential, what you could win versus what the little bit of effort, tiny little bit of effort just to do, right? Nonetheless, I made it even easier for you guys to get in there. So there you go, okay? Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Bill, you're very welcome, man. Yeah, Common Man. $1,000 Doge was the big thing when Doge was running up toward $1. And I still see people on TikTok doing that, man. It's so bad. It's really so bad. And people are getting their investment and trading advice from these guys. I'm sure there's some good people out there. I'm sure there probably is. There always is somewhere, right? But man, if you're new, these people that get out there and they make it sound so easy and like you're going to make so much money without really having to learn anything on your own. And that's the scary part. Because you don't. Not in this market. Not in markets at all. So yeah. Lost it here in the house on Friday when I woke up. So anyway, yeah. So here we go, guys. This is this. I don't know. Is there anything else? We're kind of watching right here. This is the E-minis for S&P. As you can see, we've got this rally heading on up here. This, of course, is the 4-hour. Let's go ahead and zoom this to the daily here. And so as we can see on the daily, again, volume, it's not even really much of a volume spike. It's a little bit of it right here. And then volumes just died off considerably as we've kind of rallied through here. So, again, it makes me cautious. Remember, guys, when you're looking at, okay, is a trend legitimate or not, the one way that you can see is that trend legitimate is if you're getting increasingly expanding candles, so larger candle spreads, and then at the same time, you're getting larger volume, expanding volume. So you're getting increase in volume and an increase in the candle spread. What do those two things mean? I'm going to tell you real quick here, guys, before I go. The increase in volume tells you that more people are interested, okay? It means more people are there's more shares being traded or more of that instrument or that asset or whatever being traded. There's more interest overall. Now, that's important because if your candle spreads are also expanding as you're going, that says not only is there more people interested, but they're increasingly becoming more and more in that direction. So in this case, you see how the candle spreads here get larger? See how they're getting larger? They're spreading larger. You see how the volume's expanding? So it tells you as this is dropping, more and more people are getting involved. More and more shares are turning over. And at the same time, of those that are coming in, more and more of those are of the bearish, of the sell than the buy. Market selling rather than market buying. And that's that increase of market sellers over market buyers is what makes these candle spreads larger and larger and larger. Okay? If you have volume dwindling as you're rallying, for instance, in this way, well, the first thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that this isn't a reversal here, but what it means is you have less and less interest. People are less and less interested as it's getting up here. Now, in this case, that could be because price is nearing, the index here is nearing the all-time high, right? So people are less and less likely to put it in unless they see a breakout of that, right? So that could say that. But also here, you're getting, your candle spreads aren't really increasing. I mean, you've got this one and then this one, and that's really it. The rest of them are pretty small, right? So in this rally here, overall, you've got obviously more market buying than market selling, but not a whole lot because the market selling continues to come in and keep these candle spreads small. Gives them long wicks at the bottom. So that's what you're looking at with it. Again, it doesn't mean necessarily that this isn't a bottom here in a reversal. It could just be because, the market's unsure. And the market will jump in if it breaks out above the all-time high. That could be what happens. But definitively that if you've got expanding volume and expanding candle spread, the market is more interested in going in that direction than not. Okay? Telltale, welcome back, man. Yeah, definitely check it out, man. We did the drawing. We had 3 winners on there. And so, of course, like I said here on Twitter, I'm going to mention them and get them to get a hold of me so we can get everything set up for them. Bill, of course, you can just contact me there in DM on the server since you're already in there. And we'll do that. But, again, guys, no guarantees on anything ever. We're all about, studying the market as it moves, trying to understand what may or may not be going on. And that's what's important. Much more than calls of tops. I know new traders generally want to come in and say, where's the top? Where's the bottom? They want people to call these things. These are notoriously very difficult to do. Most times you're going to be wrong. So you're going to be wrong a lot more than you're ever going to be right on that. It's much more important to learn how to start viewing the market and understand how the market's moving and what things to look for and what they mean and how they could relate or add to or subtract from the way the market's moving. If you can do that, you're going to find that you're going to be a lot better off than trying to find somebody to tell you where the bottoms and tops of the markets are, guys, okay? Again, I do these things, these live streams twice a week. What I say is valid while I'm here. If the show's off, what I say may not be valid anymore. Things could change. If you're in Discord with us and it's something that we're following and doing, then, I'll give you an update. We'll find out, right? But, again, if you're not in Discord with us, then, it may be Friday before I may mention it again. And then, I'll go, okay, well, this happened. So this is what's going on here. So just understand that, guys, okay? All right. I'm a lead singer in a precious metals band, so he does lose his voice from time to time. Oh, my gosh. All right, guys. Hey, listen, y'all are fantastic. Thank you so much for joining in, as always. Again, be sure that you're following me and all our, follow our server there on, on Discord or all our different media properties. And then you'll have the next way on how to enter into the next drawing that we'll have. We've got a lot more of these, guys. We've just begun. We've got a lot more of these heading into the end of the year. So make sure you guys are paying in and joining in. At the end of the day, we're going to give away a lot, $30,000 to $40,000 worth of everything we're doing there, right? So something like that. Anyway, lots and lots. All right, guys. Hey, listen, I hope you guys have a great day. As always, a great week. Join us at howtotradetowin.com. We'd love to have you there. If not, I will be back on Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we can again look at the markets and see how wrong I was, or, hey, how right I might have been. In either case, it's always about learning, right? More than anything else. And at the end of the day, the only thing that you control in the market is how much you lose. All right? So keep working on that risk management, guys. It is absolutely the most important thing you will ever do as a trader, day in and day out. It is where you make your money. All right? Risk management. Take care, everybody.